comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.
Magandang gabi po, Pilipinas! Thank God it's Friday. Ngayon po ay January 12, 2024. At ito po ang programang Radyo Advokasya. Ako po si Jude Hicap. Hanggang alas 7 po ng gabi, ugaliin po ninyong makinig sa programa tuwing Lunes hanggang Biyernes. Tayo po ay napapakinggan sa DZRJ 8:10 AM sa talapitan po ng inyong mga radyo. Available po tayo sa Radyo Bandido TV, sa Sky Cable Channel 224 nationwide, at sa mga digital box tulad ng GMA For The Box, ABS-CBN TV Plus Box, at Sulit Box ng TV5. Now, last part na po tayo ng ating pong programa para po sa ating usapin sa mga application ng visa sa Australia, no? From student visa to working visa to skilled visa. And sa ngayon, pag-uusapan po natin yung tourist visa and then the residency or the permanent visa. Siyempre, ang ating resource person ay mula sa Gabito Lawyers, dyan po naman sa Australia, si Attorney 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝘆 dyan po naman sa bansang Australia, practitioner sa High Court Australia. Attorney Cyril, magandang gabi po sa inyo and greetings po sa ating mga tagapanood at tagapakinig.
Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Good evening, Jude. Thank you for having me here again.
Ayan, nasa huling bahagi na tayo ng ating diskusyon at pag-aaral patungkol sa mga application ng visa sa Australia. Now, Attorney Cyril, no, unahin ko po itong another set of questions para sa tourist and sa pareho ba yung permanent at residency visa, Attorney?
Okay, Jude, before I go ahead any further, I just want to share this. It is it's remarkable that we received a lot of inquiries regarding student working and skilled visa.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you for this program. But yeah, answering that question with respect to pareho ba ang permanent and
Residency.
residency?
Resident.
Well, permanent residency is one. Permanent residency. A residency can be a temporary resident. A residency can be a permanent resident. There are two types of residency in Australia.
Ayun. All right. Attorney, dito tayo magsisimula sa tourist visa, no? So, anong proseso ng aplikasyon sa tourist visa sa Australia? And then, tawag nito, mga ilang buwan bago ma-approve ang tourist visa at ilang buwan ka mag-i-stay sa Australia under tourist visa at magkano ang gagastusin ng isang applicant?
Okay. I just want to start with what is a tourist visa? Kasi madaming question. Ano bang tourist visa? Well, this visa is intended for you to stay temporarily. For those who want to stay, for those who want to travel, it is only for visiting, holiday, leisure, and not to work in Australia. Okay? You must have enough money to stay in Australia. Hindi po yung tinatawag natin na tourist without fund. Although the Department of Immigration does not put in the regulations that you must have X amount of money in your bank so that your application can be approved. It doesn't says in the law, it doesn't says in the regulation. Now, this tourist visa will allow you to stay for 3 months or more. It depends on the approval of the Department of Immigration. So, like I said, the tourist visa is not intended for you to work in Australia, and it is only a temporary, and the department may impose, may or may not impose to a visa condition a no further stay condition. When I say the no further condition, a visa can, or a visa holder of a visa holder may or may not extend their visa in Australia, unless there is a compassionate and compelling reason of not leaving on the day the visa expires. Because some tourist visa has the 8503 condition, meaning you cannot extend your stay in Australia unless you have a compassionate and compelling reason of not living in Australia. So, straightforward. How many months, how many days the tourist visa can be decided? Well, it's up. The processing time is up to 30 days. A very quick one, 30 days processing time, and it is an electronic application. Everybody can do it online. My advice is, if it is a straightforward application, you can do it yourself. If you're confident enough to lodge your application, you can do it yourself. It's an electronic application. However, if your situation is complicated, you do not have time, or to save costs, do it yourself. If you do not have time to do it, seek legal advice. So that's my advice for those people applying for a tourist visa.
Dito sa tourist visa, Attorney Cyril, kailangan ba na pwede bang pumunta ka kahit walang kamag-anak sa Australia, or much better na meron kang kamag-anak sa Australia, and then dito ba sa tourist visa kailangan mong magpakita ng term na show money?
Okay. Everybody can apply for a tourist visa in Australia, regardless you have a family member in Australia or you do not have a family members in Australia. The only test that the Department of Immigration will look at is you must have a genuine incentive to return to your home country. So again, I just want to stress this. The Department of Immigration does not require X amount of money, a show money. It does not require. Taliwas sa mga naririnig natin na you have to put millions in your bank so that you will be granted. We have clients, millions in their bank, but they have not been granted a tourist visa. The reason why, they did not address the genuine intention to return. So that is the key point. You have to address that you have an incentive to return to a strong ties to the Philippines, strong ties to your home country. There's no such amount that you need to have in your bank. If you have a family members in Australia, they can assist your, it would assist your application. But the onus would be on the applicant.
Ayun.
That they have to show evidence on their own.
May dinideny din ba na application sa tourist visa? Usually, ano mga reason?
Reasons, like I said, they did not address the genuine intention to return to their home country. Wala silang strong ties to return to the Philippines. Kaya sinabi ko kanina, even if you have millions in your bank account, if you did not address, if you could not show that you have a strong ties to the Philippines or to your home country, your application will be rejected, because the intention, the tourist visa is designed only for it's a temporary visa. It is not for you to stay longer.
By experience, sa mga clients po ninyo, mga ilang buwan bago sila na-approve yung visa at nakapunta ng Australia?
Okay. With my experience, after the biometrics, 2 days, they would get the visa, but the processing time is up to 30 days. That is the standard, up to 30 days. So once you launch the tourist visa, you get a request from the Department of Immigration for the biometrics. You have to do the biometrics within 14 days, and after 14 days, you get a decision. It can be the same day, it can be the following day. Very quick, sometimes very quick, but like I said, depending on the complexity of the application.
Ayun. All right. Let's go to the permanent resident visa. Anong proseso po ng pag-apply nitong visa na ito, attorney? Anong time frame na hihintayin ng applicant at magkano ang gagastusin?
Okay. Yung permanent visa po, overview. Permanent visa is a 5-year visa muna. Dun muna tayo sa overview. It's a 5-year visa. Now, if you're a permanent resident, you have the same rights with Australian citizen except for voting rights. Okay, so if you are intending to apply for a permanent residency, all the visas that we discussed previously, like for example, a student visa, sometimes a tourist visa, working visa, they can transition to a permanent residency. They can transition to a permanent residency. For the student visa, if there is an employer willing to sponsor you, and of course, subject to meeting the departmental requirements and your skills is listed in the Department of Home Affairs, then you can transition to permanent residency. A student visa can transition to skilled migration for permanent residency. So, again, subject to meeting the criteria of the Department of Home Affairs, and that your occupation is listed on the skilled occupations list. If you are also on a working visa, you can also be transitioned to a permanent residency.
Oh, I see.
So all those things that we discussed, these are all connected. All those visas that we discussed yesterday and the other day, they can transition to a residency, to a permanent residency. The residency, like I said earlier, can be a temporary and can be a permanent residency. So they are all.
So in other words, pag nandyan ka na at meron kang iba't ibang visa, pwede ka nang mag-apply dito. I assume na mas easier yung application.
If you're in Australia, it would, walang easy application. Okay, I want to be upfront and honest. There's no easy application. I don't want to sounds very difficult, Rebecca, but there's no easy application. They thought that, okay, you just need to put the application to the Department of Immigration, and then because you pay, you get the visa. No, that's not how the department works. You have to meet the criteria. Each criteria has to be checked. Like I said, number one rule for the residency, you have to have your skills listed in the occupations list, as I discussed the other day.
So, all right. Okay. So, anong time frame na hihintayin ng temporary resident and permanent resident para mabigyan sila ng visa? At magkano ang gagastusin nila, attorney?
Okay, let's start with the working visa. I discussed yesterday the working visa. The working visa, you can transition to working visa temporary yan. You can transition to permanent residency. Only if a person works in the same company for a minimum of 3 years, the same company and the same occupation. The employer can sponsor them for a permanent residency. Now, what is the cost? The cost for permanent residency is similar to the skilled migration, which is the 4,000. That's for the government fee, about 4,000.
Ayun. All right.
And then the processing time, obviously, subject to the Department of Immigration timeframe, can be 3 months, can be 6 months, can be 1 year.
Okay, so walang eksaktong period of time, kumbaga man, depende sa
Depende sa workload ng Department of Immigration. Again and again, they put some time frame in the departmental website that, for example, the 186 visa, which is the transitioning from the temporary ng working visa to permanent, 186. They said it would be from 3 to 8 months. But sometimes we get it within the 5th month. So subject to the workload of the Department of Immigration. They will give us a guidance. They will give us a guide how long would it take to process the visa, but there's no really specific, when they say 6 months, it very, very rare it would happen.
Just like other visas, pwede din ito magkaroon ng mga rejection itong application nila.
Yes. Similar to other type of visas, not all visas are successful.
Pero pwedeng mag-appeal sila.
You can make appeal. You can make an appeal, go to the tribunal, and your application will be reviewed. If, again, rejected to the tribunal, and if you think that there is jurisdictional error in making a decision under the tribunal, then you can make an appeal to the Federal Circuit Court, to the Federal Court, and to the High Court. So
Ayun.
we have there is a process. There is a process.
Ayun. Alright. Batiin ko lang, attorney, no, yung mga nanonood sa atin, yung punong barangay ng Tulay Kasiguran, Sorsogon, mukhang pupunta din ito ng Australia. Si Andy 𝗥𝗱𝘆𝘆, si Kapitan, ay nanonood ngayon. Pupunta ito ng Australia as tourist. Ito naman si Professor Noraly Collado, mukhang magtuturo din sa bansang Australia. Wow, galing. And of course, si Sir Martin Hariguab ay nanonood sa atin, ang buong staff ng opisina dyan sa Sorsogon. Now, ma'am, dyan po naman sa Australia, anong pangalan? How are we going to contact you? Para anong services ang ino-offer po ninyo para matulungan ninyo kami na makapag-apply ng iba't ibang visa sa Australia?
Okay. 𝗥𝗱𝘆𝘆 lawyers provide legal services and migration services. Primarily, we are more on skilled migration, student, and company sponsorship visa. Partner visa is part of it. We do different type of visa. We do different type of visas.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you are in the Philippines, if you are not able to contact 𝗥𝗱𝘆𝘆 lawyers via email or via text or call, you can contact MCG. We are in collaboration with them, so they would really assist you on how to process the visa. But obviously, they are not allowed to give an advice. Mm-hmm. If you want these people, MCG, we are in collaboration with them, but they are not.
Pwedeng i-connect
Yes.
sa inyo.
Yes.
Para to seek an advice or
yes. You book an appointment through MCG, and MCG will contact 𝗥𝗱𝘆𝘆 lawyers, and then we'll set the time and date, and we'll do Zoom meeting, and then we give you the proper advice.
All right. Itong MCG na ito, yung partner nito dito sa Philippines, is a consultancy firm. Hindi siya agency, tama po ba?
No po. Hindi siya agency, hindi po sila yung mga nagpapadala ng overseas worker abroad. Mm-hmm. Hindi po sila. They are a consultant. Mm-hmm. They're not the agency similar to what we're thinking. The typical agency in the Philippines that you get people send it to overseas. They're only they are these MCG connect with 𝗥𝗱𝘆𝘆 lawyers. We still do we process the visa for the clients. It's only that
the 𝗥𝗱𝘆𝘆 lawyers will process the documents of the clients.
We do because we are the authorized one.
Ayun.
Processing the visa only you must have a license to do it.
Okay. So lisensyado kayo dyan sa Australia to handle and process the documents.
Yes. As a lawyer, yes, I am. We are licensed to process the visas.
All right. So, paano namin makontak ang MCG dito sa Philippines? Is there any Facebook or number to contact them para ma-connect din kami sa inyo directly?
I believe they have the Facebook, the MCG Consulting and Business Solution Specialist. Mm-hmm. They have the contact number at 056-411-5211. Mr. Martin.
056?
056-411-5211.
Ayun.
056-411-5211.
So, hindi kayo kumukuha ng direct clients from the Philippines, dapat dadaan sila sa MCG Consultancy. Tama po ba?
We do. If they contacted us directly, we assist them directly. But
Ayun.
If we went to MCG, then MCG will connect to 𝗥𝗱𝘆𝘆 lawyers. MCG will book an appointment with us, and they would assist.
So how are we going to contact you, 𝗥𝗱𝘆𝘆 lawyers in Australia?
You can email us info@𝗥𝗱𝘆lawyers.com.au, and we also have a website, www.𝗥𝗱𝘆lawyers.com.au.
All right, ma'am, please repeat the email address and then the website.
𝗥𝗱𝘆 lawyers email address info@𝗥𝗱𝘆lawyers.com.au, and our website www.𝗥𝗱𝘆lawyers.com.au.
Ayun.
You can contact us through we prefer to be contacted through email, Facebook, because we rarely look at our Facebook. Unfortunately, I'm not a techie person, so.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, tawag nito, pag tinanong namin kayo, magkakano ang gagastusin namin para sa consultancy? For us
Consulting.
to prepare, di ba? Kailangan namin maghanda. Oo, di ba?
Of course. Consulting from the Philippines through the MCG, the consulting fee, I believe, is 1,000 pesos. But it would be deducted if they want to proceed. Say, for example, consult with us, and then you want to proceed with the process, then the whole, it will be deducted.
So I believe, kung nag-contact na sa inyo, kayo na lang ang mag-uusap ng lahat ng proseso.
That's exactly right.
Ayan. Meron bang Facebook ang Gabito Lawyers, or doon lang talaga sa email address?
We prefer through email because that's monitored daily. Ayun. All right. So ulitin, more professional.
Yes. So ulitin ko lang, ma'am, yung partner niyo sa Philippines na pwede kaming konsulta at magpa-assess o assist,
correct,
no? MCG Consultancy.
MCG Consulting and Business Solution Specialist. That's headed by 𝗥𝗱𝗆𝘆 and Martin Harry Guab. All
right. Okay. Now, ma'am, ano ba yung pinakabuod na payo mo sa aming nangangarap na magtrabaho at manirahan sa Australia? So, please describe Australia by your experience, ma'am. We still have 5 minutes.
It's a good place to live.
How about the cost of living? Sabi mataas eh.
Cost of living, I believe cost of living in the Philippines is higher than the cost of living in Australia, because every time I visited Philippines, it's more expensive than here.
Ganon.
But that is the reason probably people are trying to come to Australia, because they thought it's, the cost of living in Australia is better than the cost of living in the Philippines. Well, to describe, Australia is a good place to live, a better place to live. And when it comes to workers, they're compensated. So you work hard, you earn something. But obviously, you have to pay tax.
Ayun. So mataas ang tax.
Mataas ang tax. The more you do overtime, the more you pay tax.
Pero binabalik naman sa tao talaga yung buwis na binabayad ninyo na malaki.
Exactly.
So nakikita ninyo.
Look at the roads, educational system. Look at the medical system of Australia. I don't want to discuss about the tax being paid by the Filipino people in the Philippines, but tax being paid by the Australian permanent residency or anyone who are in Australia paying tax, it's sulit naman. Like, look at the roads of Australia. Hindi bako-bako. Look at the medical system of Australia. Look at the educational system of Australia. It's good. It's a good place to live.
Ayun. All right. Madam, in summation, no? Ano ang may papayo po ninyo and final words sa ating mga kababayan?
I advise to save costs. If your situation is straightforward when making an application, you're confident to file the application, do it yourself. That is to save costs. If it is complicated, your situation is complicated, you want to apply for a visa, make sure you get legal advice. That's, a specific legal advice with respect to specific circumstances should always be sought separately before taking any actions. So that's something that we need to consider. Kaya ba natin mag-apply ng sarili natin? Straightforward ba ang application natin? If it is not, make sure you seek legal advice para hindi ka magkamali. Para hindi ba ang application.
Yes, ma'am. Maraming salamat po at mag-i-email kami sa iyo sa lalong madaling panahon.
No problem. Happy to assist. Happy to assist.
Yes, maraming thank you very much.
Po. Maraming salamat. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Mga kaibigan, si Attorney ko po si Jude Hicap. Maraming salamat po.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.